Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie. Miyamoto Musashi. Truth is the most essential, yet most neglected ideal of human life. Across spiritual and philosophical traditions, truth has always stood as the highest ideal, the ultimate reality to which all others bow. But in the modern age, humanity has become estranged from this ideal. Life's depths have been subverted for the superficial. Meaning has been replaced by distraction, and the pursuit of truth has been traded for the comfort of illusion. How many people do you know that actively hold truth as an ideal, who reflect on what it means or what it even is? The average person avoids truth, choosing comfort over confrontation, and those in power manipulate and weaponize it, choosing control over integrity. Truth is the foundation of all meaning, of reality itself, but humanity drifts further from it. Instead, we build towers of Babel on foundations of sand. In this video, we will return to truth as the highest ideal. We will explore the meaning of truth, the human relationship to it, its many faces, truth as the ground of morality, the war on truth, and what it means to walk the path of truth. I'll make the case that truth is absolute reality, the highest and deepest expression of what is, that to align oneself with truth is to enter into harmony with reality itself, and to deny truth is to live falsely, exiled in illusion. Put most simply, truth is what is. It's the most real and powerful force. The very fact that the answer to the question, what is truth, is simply its reversal, truth is what is, reveals its fundamental simplicity and its nature as ultimate reality. At the deepest level, truth is all there really is. Anything else, by definition, is false, unreal, an illusion. Truth exists independently of our perception of it. It's there whether we see it or not, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. As George Orwell said, however much you deny the truth goes on existing. Truth, then, isn't a man-made construct, but a reality that can only be perceived or realized through direct experience. As Paramahansa Yogananda said, truth cannot be created, but only perceived. In this way, our potential for action in relation to truth is limited. The furthest we can go is to witness, know, and speak the truth. We cannot create, destroy, or bend it. Its being is far too real and too powerful to be touched by humans. All we can do is observe it or ignore it, honor it or reject it. As the ground of all being, truth is absolute, immutable, and incorruptible. It doesn't need us, but we desperately need it. Once you understand that truth exists before and beyond your perception of it, the question then becomes, how can I develop a relationship with it? The key human quality which aligns us with truth is honesty. There's two dimensions to honesty. The first is seeing truth, the second is speaking truth. It's telling that in the Babylonian pantheon, the chief god Marduk, the god of creation and magic, had eyes all around his head and spoke magic words. These traits symbolize the divine powers of clear perception and truthful speech, to see reality as it is and to give it form through word. Through honesty, you observe and honor what's real. When your words and actions reflect reality, you align yourself with it. You participate in the order of what is. Lying, by contrast, is rebellion against truth. It's the deliberate distortion of what is. Humans are the only beings capable of lying, of creating illusions that oppose reality. What greater folly could there be than to set yourself against reality itself? Lying to others damages trust and the value of your word, but lying to yourself corrupts the soul. As Dostoevsky wrote, above all, don't lie to yourself. Self-deception entangles us in illusion. Each lie deepens the distance between our life and the real. Truth is a corrective force. When we lie, the universe corrects us through suffering. When we tell the truth, we move in harmony with reality, and the path before us becomes straight. When we align ourselves with the highest ideal, we are set on the path of what is right for us. As mentioned, before you can speak truth, you must first be willing and able to see it. And this isn't always as simple as it might sound. Truth can sometimes be harsh, ugly, or uncomfortable. In such cases, many people choose to intentionally ignore, obscure, or twist the truth in their own minds. There's often more comfort to be found in illusion than truth. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. The blue pill, red pill metaphor from The Matrix captures this perfectly. Take the blue pill to remain ignorant and blind in the comforts of illusion, or the red pill to awaken to reality, no matter how unsettling or destabilizing it may be. To face truth requires the courage to let go of comforting illusions about the world, about others, and most of all, about ourselves. And here we arrive at a crucial insight. Truth has many levels. There are truths that are personal and subjective, truths that are collective and universal, and truths that transcend both humanity and the material world entirely. The tricky thing about truth is that the first step in our relation to it is perception, yet perception is limited and subjective. Each of us views the world through a unique lens, shaped by memory, belief, and conditioning. No two people see reality in exactly the same way. This makes truth multi-layered. There's the truth as we experience it, the truth as it is, and the truth that transcends both. This is where we must distinguish between subjective, objective, and absolute truth. Subjective truth is the truth as it appears to me. It's the truth of personal experience. This type of truth has two dimensions, internal and external. Internal subjective truths refer to direct personal awareness, emotions, values, motivations, etc. For example, this music is beautiful, my childhood was painful, or I value truth. These are true to the person experiencing them. They're psychological truths, even if they're not factual in a universal sense. External subjective truths refer to the way that individuals interpret and judge the outer world. These truths are partial, and they're actually shaped by our internal subjective truths. The world we see out there is a mirror of the world we carry in here. For example, it's an individual's internal subjective truths that determine their general political stance. The political left values compassion, freedom, equality, often repressing order or hierarchy. The political right values order, responsibility, and tradition, often repressing vulnerability or compassion. These internal subjective truths go on to color and shape how individuals interpret and judge matters in the external world, i.e., their external subjective truths. What is true and right for one side is false and wrong for the other. Therefore, all external subjective truths are at once half right and half wrong, as long as they're defined by a polarity, which they usually are. This is what accounts for the great division we see in the world when it comes to socio-political matters. Both sides hold a partial truth, because both are manifestations of the human psyche divided against itself. To see clearly, one must reconcile these opposites within. Only then does perception begin to approach objectivity. Beyond these fragments lies objective truth, the realm of fact, balance, and impersonal reality. Objective truth is what remains true beyond belief and bias. When you look at the world, particularly any event or matter that's divisive, there's an objective truth behind the two sides. It's not on the left or right, in this religion or that religion, on this side of the border or that one. It doesn't pick sides. It's the axis that unites both ends of the spectrum. It recognizes the equal necessity of opposites, that both poles, light and dark, order and chaos, masculine and feminine, right and left, are equally necessary parts of a whole, and therefore integrates and reconciles them. It would be nice if we could say that science was the optimal tool for obtaining objective truth, but even science only goes halfway, as it honors the external world, ignoring the inner one. Beyond all perception, belief, and measurement stands absolute truth, the truth that simply is. Where elsewhere we have truths, with the absolute we have truth, the ground of all being, the one beneath the many. If we think of truth as being represented by a spectrum of polarity, subjective truth is a point on the spectrum, objective truth is the central axis of the spectrum, and absolute truth is the spectrum itself. Subjective truth identifies with one pole, objective truth recognizes the necessity of both poles, and absolute truth recognizes the ultimate oneness of both poles. The absolute is eternal, infinite, unchanging. Call it God, Allah, Brahman, the Tao, the divine, the transcendent, the all. The name is unimportant. In Hermetic terms, it's the truth that cannot be spoken. This is the universal spiritual paradigm, that beneath the material world of changing forms, there's one source, an eternal essence that we're all connected to and expressions of. This is true reality. This is what Plato's allegory of the cave represents, an escape from the illusion of duality and separation, and into the reality of oneness. And it is from this absolute reality of oneness that morality emerges. It's a popular stance nowadays that morality is relative or subjective, a mere social construct shaped by culture or perspective. But if there's an absolute truth, which every prophet, seer, and mystic of history has claimed, then it follows that there's an objective morality which naturally emerges from that truth. It then stands as our duty to honor that truth by upholding its morality. Think of the great spiritual teachers throughout history: Jesus, Moses, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna. Despite differences in culture and time, their moral teachings were essentially the same: love others and be kind. This is because they all realized the same truth, that there is one transcendent spiritual reality that all things arise from, one common source, one shared essence. Truth is oneness. What is good and right reflects the truth of oneness. What is evil and wrong rejects it. Love, peace, kindness, compassion, justice, these all honor the truth of oneness, so therefore they're good and right. War, greed, violence, oppression, exploitation, these all reject the truth of oneness and reinforce the illusion of separation. Therefore, they're evil and wrong. The very word devil comes from the Greek diabolo, to divide or tear apart. The essence of evil, then, is literally to reject the truth of oneness and to sow division and separation. Even our most basic language bears witness to this relationship between morality and truth. Consider the words we use to judge matters of morality, right and wrong, in relation to the words we use to judge matters of truth, true and false. Right and true are synonyms, as are wrong and false. If something is true, we say that's right. If something is false, we say that's wrong. This is no coincidence. It reflects the fact that morality is born from truth itself. Just a quick side note here. This isn't to suggest that everything true is also good or right, but rather that truth is the foundation from which morality arises. There are many objectively evil and immoral realities unfolding in the world today. These objective truths are evil simply because they fail to reflect and honor absolute truth. Moreover, the more we, as humans, can acknowledge and confront the reality of these evils, the more likely they are to be corrected. Thus, it is not that all truths are good, but that honoring truth ultimately leads us toward the good. What is right and good honor and reflect truth, while what is evil and wrong reject it. It is therefore imperative that we strive to honor truth and align ourselves with it by upholding its innate morality. But the fact is that we're living through a crisis of truth. There are forces which actively work to suppress and manipulate truth in the minds of the masses. So it's up to us to wake up and fight for truth over the lies and illusions we're being fed. If your eyes are open and you observe the socio-political state of the world for long enough, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Those in power control the media to conceal and distort truth to serve their own agendas. Mainstream media was once believed by all to be a reliable and trustworthy source of information, a public service to the people, an unbiased medium connecting the masses to objective reality. Before the internet, it was much easier to pull the wool over the eyes of the masses because people were exclusively dependent on mainstream media for information. Now, thanks to the internet, we're exposed to countless alternative perspectives and sources of information. Consequently, it's become clear that the mainstream media serves and has always served as the channel through which political, corporate, and billionaire classes weaponize narrative to mold perception. Media control means perception control, and those in power realized long ago that whoever controls perception controls reality. Legendary public intellectual Noam Chomsky has long observed the master-servant dynamic between the so-called elite, or more accurately, the criminal ruling class, and the media. As he said, in a totalitarian state, it doesn't matter what people think, because the government can control them by force. In a democratic society, force is not available, so you have to control what people think. Chomsky coined the term manufacturing consent to describe how governmental and corporate forces use the media to control public perception and gain support for their immoral pursuits, from war and foreign intervention to policing, economics, and corporate interests. For example, leading up to the Iraq War in 2003, mainstream US media spread the Bush administration's claims about weapons of mass destruction, even though they were later proven to be lies. Or consider the illegalization of psychedelics in the 1960s, when lies were peddled by the media to justify the so-called war on drugs. A campaign supposedly meant to protect citizens, but in reality to suppress the substances that were fueling the anti-war movement and awakening the American youth. Chomsky was so assured of the media's propagandistic function that he stated, "Any dictator would admire the uniformity and obedience of the US media." One extreme yet hauntingly relevant portrayal of how a society looks when information is completely controlled by concentrated power is found in George Orwell's 1984. The protagonist, Winston Smith, works in the government's Ministry of Truth, where his job is to alter historical records to align with the present interests of the party. Big Brother is the all-powerful leader, always watching and listening. Anyone who even hints at dissent is vaporized by the thought police for committing thought crime. Orwell, all the way back in the 1940s, foresaw with chilling clarity the war on truth we face today, and the dire nature of this reality has only intensified since his time. So this is the reality. Mainstream media doesn't serve the public majority, but the private minority, and it serves to manipulate and brainwash. Truth is concealed and twisted before the eyes of the masses, rendering us ignorant, misinformed, and divided. There are forces that are only able to dominate and control due to our unconsciousness. They want us asleep to truth, not just subjective truth, but absolute truth too. They don't want you to know reality. They don't want you to know your true nature. And they definitely don't want the masses united by the knowledge of our oneness. It's up to us, therefore, to seek and speak truth, to fight for and honor truth in a world of lies and illusion. None of this means anything if we don't use it to improve ourselves and our lives, and by extension, the world around us and the lives of others. It's not enough to merely contemplate truth or study it as an ideal. We must take our understanding of it and allow it to transform us, to shape our values, perspectives, and actions. This is how we fight the war on truth, by walking the path of truth. As for walking the path, it will look different for every individual. As Jiddu Krishnamurti famously taught, truth is a pathless land. By this he meant that there is no predetermined route, no external authority that can deliver you to truth. The path must be carved from within. In his words, truth cannot be brought down. Rather, the individual must make the effort to ascend to it. You cannot bring the mountaintop to the valley. If you would attain to the mountaintop, you must pass through the valley, climb the steeps, unafraid of the dangerous precipices. In other words, truth cannot be handed to us. It must be realized, earned through direct experience. To accept truth secondhand is to replace your own realization with blind faith in an external authority. That is the way of the infant, to relinquish responsibility and entrust your own salvation to the hands of another. Such is the path of seeking and knowing truth. The other side of the coin is speaking it. To align yourself with truth, to honor and express it, is to put faith in all that is good, right, and true. Since morality emerges from truth, all that is good will eventually follow if you honor what is true. Truth is the first step. Goodness and righteousness follow closely behind. In a world built on illusion, honesty is rebellion. Aligning with truth is the most revolutionary act. Truth is the antidote to the illness behind humanity's spiritual decay. What we must do is place truth above all else, return it to its rightful place as the highest ideal. Truth doesn't pick sides. There's no ego in truth. It's without pride and without personal agenda. Only when we can renounce each of these can truth reclaim its rightful position as the pinnacle of all value, the axis which unites all opposites, inner and outer, self and other, left and right, darkness and light. Don't let any external authority tell you what is true. Don't let your own biases and prejudices determine what you believe to be true. Seek truth for yourself and let it occupy the highest position of necessity in your mind. Living truthfully requires courage, to face oneself, to speak reality, to strip away illusion layer by layer. Truth is reality. Truth is one. Truth is. To live by truth is to stand with reality itself. And in the end, only reality endures. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for your time, interest, and attention. I genuinely believe that truth as the highest ideal is the antidote to the spiritual illness we're suffering as a species. It's the corrective force that will set us back on the right path. So it's up to each of us as individuals to hold it at the forefront of our minds and value systems and to speak and act accordingly. This video took a lot of time and effort. So if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate if you could share it, like it, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks again, and take care.